All right, good morning. Oh, good afternoon. What's going on? Sorry, I did not intend to do that, but I'm definitely having a sleepy afternoon. Sorry, got a little bit of a late start to the live stream today. Today is Saturday, 3 p.m., May 16th. Feeling good about that. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I kind of had to get the setup done a little bit in a hurry because, to be honest, I fell asleep. So I've been taking a nap for the last couple of minutes. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Joshua Payne says, yo, what's going on? What's going on, Josh? Good to see you. Stevie76, good to see you. Sound is good, says Michael Sester. Thanks for the confirmation there. Appreciate it. Ahmet Javuz Pekel from Istanbul coming in again. Good to see you again here. Melo Velo, I like that name. Mike, hello, bonjour. Good to see you. Jazzy's here. Awesome, Jazzy. And Guillermo Munoz. Awesome. Joseph Rasmussen says, not too fast, but guess who broke 8 in the mile this morning? Congratulations. That's great news. Good progress. Martha's here. How you doing? Jefferson Sai, he says, glad to be able to make it today. Glad that you are here today too. Sorry to like spring this on you. Like the way that the YouTube live stream works is you can like make your thumbnail and you can do two things. You can like set it, like schedule for get there ahead of time. That way people can kind of like get in there and wait. Kind of like, like if you had like, I think equate it to like teaching, like people can be waiting in the class for like the instructor to arrive. But the other thing that you could do is you can just kind of like start a YouTube live stream, and then people kind of like, oh, look, and you get like a notification or something, and you'd be like, oh, look, check that out. I like to set it up a little bit ahead of time so that way you guys can kind of know it's coming and know that I'm getting ready for it to come. But some days, just get a little bit of a late start. The reason why I fell asleep, well, I kind of been falling asleep a lot during the middle of the day during like this kind of time where things are a little bit different. But the other thing is that my daughter has been wanting to go on longer bike rides. And she wants to, she likes not just like riding around the block anymore. She likes to ride. And so 2 days ago, we went for 2 miles on her bike. And, like stopping and starting, nothing intense. She's 8. But she wanted to get out there, and once I told her that I can like track how far we've gone, she really was like very interested. Yesterday we did 2.5 miles, and today we did another 2. And when I got back, I was tired. Like after lunch, she's like, "So we're gonna go for a bike ride today, Dad?" And I was like, "Oh, I had a 10-mile run this morning. That was pretty hard, but yeah, okay, let's go." And then when we got back, I pretty much like sat down on the couch and fell asleep, even though it was like 10-minute, 12-minute miles, so like just relaxing. But it was not that long after my last run, so like my legs were a little bit groggy, and I was definitely feeling a little bit tired. But fun to be able to do that with her, and she's been enjoying it, and she insists on stopping to take photographs by flowers. It's gotten to the point where we had already downloaded an app that can help us to identify, or not help us, that will identify flowers for us. You take a picture of the flower and it tells you what it is. And so she loves doing that. So I feel like that's good. It's like a nature walk plus like outdoor activity all at the same time. So we've been enjoying it. So that's why I'm so sleepy right now, because my daughter is making me run doubles and I'm tired. Wang Shishi says, second live chat for me right after Ed Bud channel. Awesome, cool. I didn't, was this, today was his first one, right? Cool, awesome. Natalie Tom saying, multitasking and mashing some potatoes while I watch this. Awesome. I love to hear about what you guys are doing while you guys listen to this. I know there's like foam rolling is a popular choice. Making dinner or food is a popular one. On in the background, like at work, is another one that I hear a lot, which I very much appreciate that one. I like that one too. I think that's how I listen to a lot of my podcasts as well, like running or while like working. But I like that you were so specific today, saying mashing potatoes while listening. So that's awesome. Thanks, Natalie. Arcade says, hello from Canada. Hello, A. Good to see you. Ines Dunbar says, hello from Nairn in Scotland. Hope your Saturday is going well. It is going well. Really great day. There's a very strange fog in Chicago coming in. And there was a point where my daughter and I we were running through it, and we could tell we were running through it. Usually like fog's weird, right? Like once you're in it, you can't really tell that you're in fog a lot of the time, unless you're like driving fast and then you have like headlamps. But a lot of times when you stand in fog, you don't notice that like the air is like thicker. But this time we definitely did. We could see it like moving in, you know. So it was like we were literally running and riding bikes through a cloud today. It was fun. Raid Morris says he's recovering from a long recovery / long and easy shoe, 1080 V10 Rincon or Nova Blast. I would say not the Rincon. I would say the 1080 V10 for sure. The Nova Blast, I'm not sure. I still need to run a little bit more in it to really figure out what I think it does great. I think it's supposed to be more of the daily trainer, but I think because it's so squishy, it can be used as a recovery shoe for sure. But for a long run, I'm not so sure yet. So stay tuned on that one. Joshua Payne says, half marathon finished this morning. Great work. But the Midwest humidity is kicking his butt. Ooh, yeah. It's definitely a thing. Melavela says, going on a 13-miler tomorrow, maybe more, using the Nathan vest. Awesome. Very cool. Well, good luck with that tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think we're supposed to get a lot of rain in Chicago, so I don't know if I'll run tomorrow. I might just hit the bike. Rami Nader says, love your channel and all of your content. Thanks for what you do. Well, thank you for watching. Good to have you here. And Frank Lahulia says, it's amazing how you can see her smile through the face mask. Yeah, like she, people always say like the thing about the mask is that you can't see people smile. And I think that's true like when you see people like in hospitals and stuff when they've got the full head to toe PPE. But like when like I'm like wearing a face mask, when other people are wearing face masks, I can tell when you're giving me stink eye. I can tell when you're smiling. I can tell when you don't see me at all. Like the eyes say it, you know? And so like my daughter has this just giant smile lately that's been really beautiful, and it's been blossoming, and it's been really nice to see. And it definitely comes through when you see her smiling. And she just loves being outside, and she really likes to be able to like work out with me, I think. And so she was very excited to. I posted a picture of it on Strava, and I think she was just really excited to be there. And so she's having fun. I'm having fun too. Corey Kempink says, hey, finally not working and get to see you live. This is awesome. Awesome. Beyonce and I watch you and have been a huge help towards our running as she hopes to do a half marathon. That's fantastic. There are a small number of couples that watch me together, and I think that's great. I love it. I don't know why, but I just love that even more. When people are watching like together like that, it's very flattering, and I think that's pretty cool. Thank you. Reed Morris was feeling the Midwest humidity too today. And Jenny says, hi from Beirut. So nice to have these live streams in the midst of all that's going on. Well, I'm glad to do them too, and it means a lot to me to have everyone here, and it's been just so much fun. Melavella says, would you ever consider cycling seriously as running? Probably not. I don't like it. It just it's not speaking to me. I think that like if I could have the experience of what was I listening to the other day? Oh, I was listening to Rich Roll podcast. He was talking with Chris Mosier. And they were talking about how when Chris Mosier was getting into triathlon in New York, and he was asking Chris, like, Chris, who I met when I was training with the Nike team in Edge Athlete Lounge last summer. Super nice guy. Love that guy. He said that he used to train, just riding his bike through the park, but also riding up Route 9 in New Jersey. And it's just across the George Washington Bridge. My parents live very close to there. And it's a road that I'm very familiar with. And there's always tons of like bicyclists and bicycle groups riding up 9W, or riding up and down 9W. And it's a beautiful, windy road with a giant, giant shoulder. So like the shoulder is wider than the lane of traffic. Sometimes there's two lanes, but sometimes when it gets really like pretty, it's rolling hills and windy and tree covered, and there's like one lane of traffic in each direction, and then a giant shoulder, and lots of bicycles are on that road. And I think if I had that experience, I might enjoy bicycling. But the way that bicycling is here, especially now since I can't be on the lakefront, it's not. I'm not getting it. It's not speaking to me like running is. So I'm not sure that I could do that. I mean, if I had to for some reason, like if I couldn't run, bicycling is probably what I would turn to if I could still bike, So, but I just don't. I don't know. I like doing it, but it still feels like a consolation activity rather than my favorite activity at this point. I hope to love it someday, but I don't right now. I'm very thankful for it right now. Jefferson Sai says, is training on treadmill just as effective as running outside? Just moved back home to Texas and might be forced to only run inside due to heat. My family doesn't like me going outside. I think yes and no. I think like in terms of the activity, it's very similar. I think that there are certain differences muscularly from the difference between like having your legs keep up with the treadmill versus like pushing and moving forward. So I think there are differences, but I don't think that they're huge. I think that lots of people do lots of training on treadmills and do great with it. I think the bigger difference to me is psychological in terms of like how hard is it for people to train equivalently on it. And someone was asking me this today on Instagram, like, which one's more accurate, their Garmin or their treadmill? It seems like the numbers are always off. And I was like, neither. Just run for time. That's what I do when I'm on a treadmill. I mean, there's times when I've done interval work on a treadmill, or I've done like repeats on a treadmill when it's been nasty out and I gotta get that workout in, and that's when I pay more attention to distance. But for the most part, like I use the treadmill as a way to it's a kind of like the way I look at bicycling. It's like a consolation activity. I can't run outside, so I'll do this, but it's a really good alternative. So that's kind of how I see it. I don't love treadmill running either. I wish I did. Some people really prefer it. Some people like love it for interval workouts because of like that precision, like like exactly when you've hit how much distance, or like when you're exactly running a certain pace. You don't have to guess, and I can understand that, but I'm not one of those people. Nathan N says, good to see you. Hope your runs went well. It's good to see you too. And Wang Shi says, Ed Bud's on his second live chat. Well, that's cool. It's good to see him doing some live streams as well. I'll have to stop in and check those out. Ronald Rhodes says, good morning from Kentucky. That's funny. Yeah, awesome. LJ Sum says, getting inspired to run. Yeah, I mean, the weather's nice for it. It's a great time of year to be running. Jenny says, what I always do when watching this, embroidery. It's amazing. Such a meditative and relaxing thing. That's so cool. I wish I had more of a skill in that regard, because then I can make my own face masks, and I'd like to be able to do that, number one. But I just think that like those kinds of things are amazing to do. What I've noticed is my daughter has really taken to origami, and she also hates like Zoom meetings, but all her school right now is on Zoom meetings. And so what she'll do when she's on those Zoom meetings is she'll get a stack of papers, like her origami paper, and she'll just fold for the entire time. And it's like her way of like staying engaged with like this like virtual call with 20 other like fidgety 8-year-olds. And so at this point, her favorite way to watch it is not the grid view. I like watching the grid. I like seeing all the faces, just maybe because I have a really short attention span, and I like the it's like popcorn, like the way it's so random and everyone's like moving and engaging with content. When you see like a Zoom meeting like that, she doesn't like it. She only likes it when you could see like a couple of thumbnails on top and the main speaker on the bottom. I think because it's just so distracting for her. But that's interesting. What do you think that says about a person if they prefer the grid versus the speaker view? I wonder. What do you guys like? I like seeing all the people. I like the chaos. I'm running with AJ and Max. Good morning from Cairns, Australia. Awesome. Trying to get inspired to get off the couch and go for a run this morning. Well, get after it. It's Sunday for you now. So, no time. Like Sunday runs are great. Go for it. I mean, this live stream, you can pick it up later on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts if you want to listen to it later. But I'm glad to have you here now as well, joining the live stream. Steve says, evening, sir. Had a great run in Nova Blast. I meant to do 4, but ended up on 6 because it was fun. Aren't those the best days when you're just like, I'm just going to go because it feels great? That's one of my favorite feelings. And I remember when I was doing the Ragnar in the Tetons, that was a sponsored event. So they had like got a whole bunch of people together, and they were making like a mini reality. I think they were doing like a pilot, or they weren't sure what they were going to do. Maybe they were going to make a sizzle and see if they could turn it into like some sort of broader kind of like series that they may either produce internally or try to sell elsewhere. But they had like kind of like 8 strangers join a Ragnar team for a relay. And they were, one of the questions as part of the interview process, like, why do you run? And my answer was, because sometimes you just want to, when you're out there, your body says, I want to keep going. And it'd be a shame to not be in good enough shape to be able to take advantage of that, like, feeling. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, you really want to capitalize on it. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking when you're saying you wanted to do 4 and ended up with 6 today. It's beautiful. Someone was telling me, what was I thinking about the other day? Where, I was listening to a podcast and someone was talking about like trying to find nirvana or enlightenment or whatever euphemism or word you want to put on it. And they were like, it's not like this thing that you get and it's like achievement unlocked and then you're in it. It's kind of like this thing that you touch every once in a while, and I feel like when you get into that state of running, it's not something that you can just turn on every time, but every once in a while you hit it. And it's a great feeling. I had that, the last time I had that happen to me was when I was in San Diego last time. I was running in the Adios 4. I remember it very distinctly. And then I was just running and running and running. I was about to turn around and then I was like, I'm pretty close to the coastline. I should just go see the water. And then it happened to be sunset over the cliffs in San Diego, looking at the Pacific Ocean and the sun setting. And it was just magnificent. I just kept running for a whole bunch more miles. And it was probably one of the best running days I've ever had. So that was awesome. Ronald Road says, Road Blast should be in today. And he loves the Nova Blast. What's the difference? I still haven't looked up the Road Blast. I saw a picture of it yesterday, and a lot of you guys have been talking about it. But I don't know anything about the Road Blast. JC8489 says, lots of rain in North Texas today. Run tomorrow. Do you think the New Balance Rebel is too slippery on wet pavement? I would say no, not necessarily. But like that rubber, it's kind of like that crystal rubber material that they've had before. And when it wears down, then it tends to wear down in a way that gets slippery. So I think it would depend on the age of the outsole. But if it's relatively fresh, I have no problem with it. But once it kind of starts to really wear down, then it's like a bald tire almost. Then I might be a little bit iffy on it. But the Rebel, I'm not as worried about the Rebel. The shoe that I had some not issues with, but concerns about the other day was the TC. And I was taking a hard turn on it, and I was like, I don't know. But that's more stack height, the issue there, than it was like the grip. Kevin Scott says, so many live streams, so little time. Just up Ed Bud's live stream. Yeah, a couple people are in there here from there. Good to see you guys. I'm glad you guys aren't live streamed out. One of my friends, Britt, who runs here in Chicago, and I met a couple years ago. She was just like, I look forward to the time when my Instagram stories isn't just full of live streams at the top. I think she's getting a lot of her friends are trainers and like gym people. And so I feel like that community is hitting the Instagram live streams hard. And so I could see if those are your friends, then yeah, you're probably seeing a lot of live streams. Zeth Paterka is coming from Seattle. How's it going? Martha says, my husband doesn't watch with me, but every time the live stream starts, he brings me a glass of wine. Wow, that's a good husband. That's good work. Good work, Lev. Let's see. Rick Vega says, do you and your mom run together? She's a runner, right? Yeah, we haven't run together in forever. She's been running. I don't know. I haven't seen her here today, but she's saw the morning live streams, the Instagram live streams. And we haven't run together lately. She's gone in spurts. And so like we don't see each other that frequently. So we'll see each other like probably 3 or 4 times a year. And 2 of those times are in like very heavy winter. So, but I look forward to the next time that we can. Outdoor says, hey man, why do I suck at running in the morning? Even after eating and waiting a few hours, I just feel drained and no fight in me. Night running, I can run so more effectively. I think you're just accustomed to it. I mean, some people, they have like a prime time of the day that like is like suitable for them. Like there's just a thing in your rhythm that your body just likes probably a certain time. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So don't be too hard on yourself. But the other thing is, you're acclimated to running at a different time of the day maybe. And so if you try running in the morning, it might be tough for you. So it might just be kind of like, think of it like adjusting to a new time zone. You might just need to get used to it a bit. David Wagner is currently cycling during calf rehab, and he doesn't like it either. Yeah, but at least you can cycle. You know, that's what I like about bicycling. It's like it's not my first choice. I know it is for a lot of people, and it's a great sport. But it's not my first choice. But I'm very glad to have it as an option. Ricky Nip tried cycling a bit himself, but was like me, just didn't give the same feeling. Yeah, I hear you. Akash M asks in all caps, "Do you have the Pegasus 37?" Thanks. I do not. Davey says, "I'm not big into cycling groups. I'm all about the gravel bike right now." Oh, okay. I could see that. I could see that too. I think where I run in Iowa. There's a lot of gravel roads, and there's a lot, bicycling is huge in Iowa, which makes sense for the state that has the RAGBRAI. But yeah, a lot of those areas, lots of people on bikes, and I think it also makes sense because there's no cars on those, and so it's a nice place to be. I think I would enjoy that if that was available to me. I think I would enjoy that. Dimaji Brown says, "You actually put a lot of miles on the Escalantes. Is the Ultra design worth checking out?" Yeah, I like it. I like the Escalante. I recommend it. If you're interested in zero drop, I think the Escalante is a pretty good introduction. I like it. Edmund Draper says, "Do you think treadmill running provides the same cardio as outdoor running?" Yes. If you're watching your heart rate, then yes. MCM says, "Hey Kofuzi, any chance we see you scale a big Chicago skyscraper staircase? Might make for some cool summit footage." There's a race. There's two different of those kinds of events in Chicago every year. As they call it, Fight for Air Climb is one of them. And there's a series of 4 tall residential towers downtown called Presidential Towers, and you can go up 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of them. And there's another one. There's Hustle Up the Hancock, which is another one that you can jog up the Hancock Building, which is my favorite building in Chicago. So I could see doing that, but I don't know how good the footage would be, except at the end, because for the most part, the footage is going to be inside a staircase, and so it's like crappy indoor lighting for a lot of it. But I could see doing it. I go up this. I've been going up and down the stairs a lot lately with everything that's going on, and I'm trying to avoid the elevator a lot. But just the number of stairs that I have to do, which is not a huge number, I get pretty tired. I'll get winded by the time I'm at the top. Not the top, but at my floor. Cody Davis says, "I have lacked motivation this week and ran a grand total of 0 miles." Well, that's all right. There's always another week, you can get back at it. Shauna Scott says, "Watch your channel all the time, but first time catching you live. I live in the burbs and live vicariously through your city runs." Well, that's awesome. So thanks for watching, and thanks for stopping in live today. Carlos Spiro says, "Are you planning to do something with Ethan Ginger Runner? He looks like he is a cool dude." We've done one thing before. He came and did an Instagram live stream with me about a month ago now at this point. Really nice guy. Someone that I've been watching for a super long time as well, and I mean, he's one of the reasons why I started making running videos. It's because I loved watching his stuff, and a lot of the things that I emphasize or things that he's always emphasized is him being just a regular runner, not a pro, not an elite athlete, but just a guy that's getting out there and getting runs in and enjoying running. And so those kind of core principles are things that I employ and embrace as well. Let's see. Melaville says grid equals need for control, and Shauna Scott says I'm a grid person too. Yeah. Blake Riggett says sup co. Well, what's up, Blake? Melaville says I will never forget my first Ragnar. It was the Wayanda Trail, Wayanda Trail Ragnar. Never again. Nothing like running through the woods at 1 a.m. Took the fun out of running. Yeah, the night run is hard. It's very hard, and when I did my night run from my last Ragnar, there was a bear sighting at the time. So they were like, just watch out for the bear, bring your bear spray. And I was like, that's a funny joke. They were like, no, seriously. You have bear spray? And I was like, ha ha ha. And they were like, just go get it. And I was like, does anyone have bear spray? Because I had to bring it with me. I did not have to use it, thankfully. Mark Shankoko says, what's up? And Martha says, everyone's talking about the road blast today because Seth reviewed it this morning. Oh, I didn't know that. Awesome. My mom says she's here. She is here. Mom, we'll have to get together for a run when we can get together again. If you want to be in a video. I mean, we can run together too if you don't want to be in a video. But I think people would want to see that. Abraham Marino says, hello from Los Angeles. I asked you the last question about the Boston 9 a couple live streams ago. I ended up getting the Skechers Razor 3, so definitely still inspired by you. Awesome. That's a good choice as well. It's another shoe that's kind of been sitting in my closet that has been asking for some attention. I think probably next week I'll get it some miles into that one. Ross Paul asks, are you a member of any running clubs in Chicago? Do you recommend them? I think that they're great for a lot of people. I'm not a running club kind of guy. I like to run by myself, which has been weird for me these days when I have to run by myself. I like to run by myself when I choose to, if that makes sense. But I do recommend them for a lot of people, especially if you're new to running or you're new to Chicago. I think both are really great ways to get introduced to running. Kara is the most established of the group. I don't know if they still have it. Years ago, when I first thought about joining Kara, they had like a 1 year of running experience requirement. This was back in 2010. If you wanted to join Kara, you had to have been running 5 miles regularly, whatever that meant. They didn't define it, but for being able to run 5 miles regularly for about a year. And I was like, oh, that wasn't me at the time. And so I was like, nope, I won't join it. But that's one. 3 Run 2 is another one. Chicago Endurance Sports is another one that's very popular. There's also a lot of triathletes in that group as well, because it's not just a running focused group. But yeah, there's a lot of groups out there in Chicago. A lot of them are like focused like kind of around your like on different neighborhoods or different like kind of like cultures, not like ethnic cultures, but like running cultures. Like what kind of running do you guys like to do? And you know, some skew younger, some skew older, that kind of thing. Man Yupeng says, I want to start run commuting. Any recommendations for the backpack that can hold a lot of stuff and comfortable but not swinging left and right when running? I like there's 2 bags that I really like, the Osprey Daylight Plus, and which I believe is a 25-liter bag. And but that's more like a backpack. So it's more running. In terms of the run commuting, it's more like commute than it is runner. But I've run probably over 1,000 miles in mine. And then I also like the Camelback Octane 18-liter, a little bit smaller, but there's a lot of pockets up front. So if you're carrying a lot of stuff that you want quick access to, that has a lot more of that. It's more of an adventure pack than it is a run commute backpack, but at 18 liters, it's big enough for a lot of people to be able to run commute in. Andrew Hurst just started running in April. Ultimate goal is a marathon. Do you think I should jump straight and try to train for the marathon, or try a half marathon first before tackling the marathon? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that necessarily. I think that like one way to look at it is you can sign up for a half, and then because you'll be getting to the half marathon distance anyway, and you'll probably want to race a half marathon kind of as practice for your marathon at some point. So you can kind of do both at the same time, and then after the half marathon, if you're like, this isn't right for me, then you can just not do the marathon. But, you know, I would say at least go for the half marathon first, and you can kind of decide from there afterwards if you want to decide for the marathon as well. I think when I started running again, much longer distances than I just had no intention of doing another marathon. I'd done one before and then take a long break, and then I came back to running again. And I ended up running a whole bunch of half marathons, and I was like very happy just running halves. And then eventually I got like talked into running a marathon, and then at that point it stuck with me that time. Timothy Betts says, I'm a new follower and see you are out running at like 4:30 a.m. Do you eat or even have a coffee before these runs, or is it simply get awake and get running? I have coffee. Sometimes I eat like a little snack, like a cookie or a granola bar or something really, really basic. Only if I'm hungry, not for like nutritional value, but just because I want to I don't like to head outside with like a grumbly stomach. That is not a comfortable feeling for me. I very much dislike being hungry. And so it's just a very uncomfortable feeling for me. But I don't get a lot in me. So I would say my runs are mostly fasted. I don't know if you can hear that, but the dog is taking a nap, and he's dreaming, and he's barking at something in his dream. He's yelping at something in his dream. When he was younger, he doesn't do it anymore. But he was. Oh, I hope he's having an okay dream. Now that one didn't sound so good. When he was younger, he would fall asleep, and in his dreams, he would be running in his dreams, and his legs would move like this. He doesn't do that anymore, but it was so cute when he used to do that. Tuotas says, I listened to your live streams while running my first half marathon today. Made it less painful. That's awesome. Congratulations on your first half marathon today. That's great. And thanks for bringing me along with you. I feel very honored to have had that very, very small part in your accomplishment for today. Great job. J. Mike Remy says, Century Ride is way tougher than a marathon. Cycling takes a different kind of grit. Oh, for sure. It's very different. I just received finally a pair of bike shorts. I ordered them a month ago, but they were certain things, like when everything got crazy, certain things were just on super, super long back order. And I found like a pair of $20 bike shorts and I ordered those. And it's got padding on the butt. And I look forward to trying those out. I haven't tried them yet. But yeah, cycling does take different. But what I like about it is that it's a lot easier to eat. And it's easier to see more data. So like bike computers are a thing, long before like people were interested in like real-time running metrics, bike computers were very long ago a thing. And the fact that you can like have a water bottle with nutrition in it, or you can eat food, the fact that like running, like the cycling, like, I don't know what they call it, jerseys, have all those pockets in the back that you can just like store things and stuff things. That sounds great. I mean, I like eating, so like eating and cycling, like I think I would like that a lot. Yeah, but it's very different. I feel like I have really good aerobic fitness, but on a bike I don't. It's just so different. Nathan N says, I have a flat foot and now running the Hoka Bondi 6. Is there a shoe like it for races? I'm looking to getting into 5 to 10Ks. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I don't know how to answer that question. I get a lot of flat foot questions, and I don't have flat feet, so I'm not really sure how to answer that for you. Unfortunately. But if you like the Bondi, I would say for 5Ks or 10Ks, I think that the Clifton 6 is probably a little bit heavy. One of my favorite 5K racing shoes is also from Hoka. It's the Carbon Rocket. I love that shoe. It's the shoe that I like to say I am undefeated in the Caribbean in 5Ks when racing in that shoe. I ran a Disney Cruise 5K one time, and I ended up winning, and I was wearing that shoe. And so I like to say that I've retired from my Caribbean racing circuit days as a champion. But that's the shoe that I ran. I love that shoe for fast distance. Like the carbon fiber plate in it, the Rocket is a great name for the shoe because it just feels like that. Reed Moore says, any tips for slowing down for recovery runs? Most daily runs for me are around 7:20 pace. And whenever I try to run with a goal of 8 or slower, I end up back in the mid to low 7s. I would say if you are having a hard time slowing down your recovery runs, I would say, are your workouts hard enough? Right? And so like, you should be wanting to run 8 minutes. I think like 7:20, unless you're like a sub-elite or an elite marathoner, I think 7:20 pace for a recovery run is really fast. I mean, maybe not, you don't have to be elite for that. Let's see. Because I was running last year in the fall, last summer, I was running my recovery paces at about 7:50. And that was, I was on a much shorter mileage plan at the time. And I was running my recovery run paces that way. And, I was doing it, but I don't know how much recovering I was doing, right? And so I would say that if you're worried about it and you're just having a hard time running that slow, work out harder and make your legs more tired. Add some more, I would do that with the assistance of your coach or talk to your coach about that kind of thing if you have a coach that you're working with in that. But your harder days should be harder if your easy days aren't like a welcome easy. It's kind of how I look at it. Mark Chankoko says, I have too many shoes now. How do you decide what to run in every day? I do it two things. I think about what I want to run that day, and that narrows it down quite a bit in terms of like, is it an easy day? Is it a long day? Do I want to throw some tempo miles in there? What do I want to do? Because not every shoe does everything. And then from there, I think about, well, what has been making me feel good, or what needs some more attention? What do I want to try out some more? So that's kind of how I decide. Goku Runner says, "What's up, Kofuzi? Good to see you again, Goku Runner." Brian Crabtree says, "Hello from PDX. I'm a big Saucony fan. Currently wearing the Freedoms. Have you reviewed those?" I have. Also trying the math method, and man, it's tough in the beginning. It is, and in Portland, it's going to be hard because it's very hilly over there. But stay with it. It took me a long time for it to make sense. It was a lot of complaining for me in the beginning. You don't have to do it. Most people don't complain as much as I do when they did it, but I complained a lot. And that's just felt like all I was doing is complaining about my running and being like unsatisfied. And then it kind of clicked. But with the Freedoms, they're a little bit too squishy for me. Look at this tail back here. It's curly. Just sorry for those of you who are listening on the podcast. I just caught a glimpse of some of my hair in the back, and it's getting all curled up because it's getting longer. But the Freedoms, I like them a lot. I love Power Run, but it's like the forefoot, it gets a little bit squishy on me, and I don't know if I like that. Joel Griffiths says, "Does overtraining hit you very often?" It does me. Not in the form of injury, but in the form of overall fatigue that takes a week or more to recover from. How do you avoid these situations? I don't necessarily think that's overtraining, that feeling of like overall fatigue. I think that just means you're working. And if you're not working, you're not going to grow, right? So you have to like stress your body for it to adapt. If it's never stressed, it adapts to that too. And it adapts to a level of not having to work hard. And so like you want those weeks, but you want to have them in a calculated or controlled, not necessarily calculated, maybe not the right word, but in a controlled or at least an intentional kind of way. And so like for me, I'm kind of moving back up to higher mileage and having some, not workouts, but a little bit more intensity of running in there. And my body's taking some time getting used to it. I'm a little bit tired. But I take those signals as, all right, my body needs some time to recover, and it's asking me for things. So like there are certain foods that I'm craving, and usually it wants salt, which tells me that I'm dehydrated and need more hydration. And if I'm more tired, it's telling me like, the way that your body recovers and builds is when you sleep. So it's telling me to take a nap. I try to listen to that as much as I can. Because we all know, not we all, but I've made it very open that I don't sleep enough at night. So like I do kind of like take cat naps. I'm trying to cut down on excessive cat napping, but I do kind of fall asleep in the middle of the day. Michael Keating says, and I'll probably end with this one for today. Subco, what are your top 5 marathons? What's on your bucket list? I've done maybe 5 marathons, but I've done the Chicago Marathon like 3 times. So I've not run 5 different marathons, so I can't really answer that. I'll say my favorite 2 are, one is Chicago and the other is the Tunnel Marathon out in Seattle. It's outside of Seattle. It's in Snohomish. It's a county or a region or a town? I'm not sure. But it's just a beautiful place to run. It's 2,000 feet of running downhill. It's just absolutely fantastic. Those are my 2 favorite. And Chicago, it's because it's my hometown. The course goes by my house. My family's here, and I get to show off my city to the world, and it's just great. The energy's fantastic, all that kind of stuff. And so those are my 2 favorite. Other races that I'd love to run are, the world majors are ones that I want to run. But I also, and I think those are like easy answers. I think some of the other answers of races that I'd really like to run, there's a marathon in Antarctica. I'd like to run that, or failing that, maybe one in Alaska, like in either in the summer or the winter, because I love winter running. So like I wouldn't mind trying like. There's an event that David Goggins talked about in his book. That's like you run in like the tundra, and you have to run with I think you have to run with snowshoes on. I'd like to try that. I don't know if I'm tough enough for that. I can handle the weather, but I think that race is more than just the weather. I can handle the temperature, but I don't know if I can handle the rest of it. That's one that I'd like to do. Something like that, not that specific race, but something like that. I'd like to run CIM. because that just seems like a real seems like the runner's marathon in a lot of ways. It's like a U.S. major, not a world major, but like a U.S. major. I'd also like to run Grandma's marathon. It's point to point along Lake Superior in Minnesota. Is it Minnesota or is it? No. Is it? I don't know what state it's in. Is it South Dakota? I don't know. My lack of knowledge on geography is showing through right now. But it's run in June, and a lot of Chicagoans run it, and I think that'd be a great one to run as well. People always speak really highly of it. So that's two that I'd like to run. There's the ultra race that Ryan Doozer, and one of the first videos I watched of Ryan Doozer's was the one that he ran doing the Born to Run race with the indigenous tribes down there, and he ran his in jeans. I would love to do that one as well at some point, but that's not one I would do by myself, for sure. Not by myself. I'd have to do that with like a couple of friends. But those are some of the races that I'd like to do. But once I feel comfortable traveling and once we start having races again, I've already run the idea by my wife that I'd really like to do pretty much like a marathon a week, a month, not a week. A marathon a month, and not race every single one, but just go out and experience different cities marathons, different places marathons, and meet more people that way. Just because I think it'd be a lot of fun. And when you can't, it's one of those, you don't know what you got till it's gone kind of things. I had the ability to do that before, but I never had the time. Now it's time to make time, I think. Well, not now. Soon, hopefully soon. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Sorry, I know there's a lot of other comments and questions in there. Sorry I didn't get a chance to get to them today. If there's a burning question, like you're about to buy something, you got a question, or you got a training question, feel free to message me on Instagram or on Twitter. I'm happy to answer questions down there. Otherwise, I'll be back on Instagram tomorrow at 6 a.m. or back here at 3 p.m. On YouTube. But I was very glad to have spent time with you guys today. Thanks so much, and hope you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.